What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Game Time Discussions. I'm Emery Cuzzy, and I'm super excited. We're going to be doing our December edition of the top 50 big board. As we get later on into the draft cycle, we'll be doing top 100 big board. But super excited about this because we basically just get season video. And so there's a lot less biased of like how guys are moving up and down boards based on how athletic they are and things like that. We're going to talk about just the video, and so I enjoy that part. Also, currently we're waiting for people to declare if they're actually going to the draft or not. So there might be some players on here. I actually had to take someone off the honorable mentions list that just came back to school or went into the transfer portal. So it's one of those things where some of these guys might not be on this list at all. They might be 2027 guys. But still, it's going to be super fun, and I'm really excited to get into it. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll share it. These are going to be the honorable mentions for the offense. It's one of the, well, starting off, obviously, the quarterbacks are one of the big talking points because we do not know if Ty Simpson will be coming back. We do not know if Jaden Maiava will be coming back. But Jaden Maiava is higher than Ty Simpson on our big board currently. I actually really love what he does with his arm talent. Ty's, he's just kind of come back down to earth this back half of the season. And the SEC championship game was just atrocious by him. He should go back to school, but the problem is he's just a lot older than these other guys because he sat behind Jalen Milroe while he was at Alabama and stuff like that. So I think it's just kind of a falling from grace situation with him. And so I don't love his trajectory by any means, but if he does come out this year, I think he's probably a second round, third round pick. He's not in the first round to me anymore. I think that people that are holding him in the first round just haven't caught up, and they will. But yeah, I think he's got to be on the back end because of the situation of just not playing well down the stretch. And then Jaden, he's one of the most pro-ready arms. Like, he is just a big dude, 6'4", big time arm. He makes pretty good. He can make all the throws. He's just inconsistency is probably his biggest issue. But 6.4% big time throw rate. 4.2% turnover worthy plays, 73.6% adjusted accuracy though. And I want to see that come up to, right at 78 to 80. That would be really good for him. And then the next group is going to be the wide receiver group. We're going to talk about Zachariah Branch, who transferred from USC to Georgia. He's kind of just that speedy gadget guy, but I think he has upside to also because of his route running. He also has upside to be just a normal football player because we don't really like talking about gadget guys going into the NFL. They don't normally pan out. So we want to see guys that can do other things, and they're just not Malachi Corley if y'all remember him from a couple years ago. But I love what he does with the ball in his hands. Of course, that's really what it comes down to, his yak and all those things that he can do, the explosiveness. But it's all about what team drafts him, in my opinion. He's not necessarily just going to fit anywhere, and teams have to know how to use him. But I think he has insane upside, and he's one of the biggest, like, you could put him in a first round conversation like Mel Kiper does, or you could put him, fourth round conversation. I wouldn't be mad at you either way. But for me personally, I think he's like right there at like 50 to 60. So I like him a lot. I just think, there's a lot of question marks with him, just like a lot of these guys. That's why they're on the honorable mentions list. Ian Strong is another guy with some question marks. Obviously, he's just got, beginning of the season was just cinema. Ethan Kaliakmanis just chunking the ball around to him, and he was just looking amazing. Very good at the jump ball. At this point, though, he's just fallen out of grace, and I think that's, he could have not been on this honorable mentions list, and we could have put a different receiver, but I really like what he could be, so that's why I left him. Unfortunately, he was a guy I wanted to continue being, like, high on, but at the same time, he's been outshined even by his teammate, KJ Duff, who's a legit player. If y'all don't know him, he's a sophomore right now. And so it's one of those things where I just want to see him continue to get better, and we ran out of time. I'm guessing he will go to one of these bowls, so that will really help the Senior Bowls, the Shrine Bowl, the American Bowl. Hopefully he goes to one of those, and like we get to see him, really improve. And then this is a really hard one, Chris Bell. And he was right at the end of the top 50 for me. He was like 48 or something like that. But then he tore his ACL, and it was, that whole thing when happened. So it was like, I kind of need to put him outside the top 50 because right now you just don't know what could happen with torn ACLs anymore. Like some players, Javonte Williams takes 2 years to come back. You have guys like Caleb Farley, who I was high on, and he never got back to normal. And so it's just one of those things where when you go into, you tear your ACL in the draft process, like it's a little nerve wracking because you're not going to play until probably the first month after football has already started. So that's the big thing with him. But let's talk about his actual football ability. A.J. Brown type, and I hope he comes back to full strength. Big physical body, bullies players that press him off the line. Just like he uses his physical traits to get separation and things like that, which I really like. The next guy is going to be Blake Miller. Blake Miller was our dark horse for the summer scouting, and I really like him. I think that there's obviously some things that I wish he, would have cleaned up a little more, but there are some really physical, there are things you just cannot teach that Blake Miller does. Athleticism for what he does at the offensive tackle position is just really special. He just has no anchor and lacks a lot of power, but at the upside is completely there. So he probably should not start when you pick him. And if he can sit a couple years, get stronger, learn a little more, that would be the best option in my opinion. But I think if you do that, you might be able to get an all-pro out of this guy. And that's kind of where I'm at with him. Next up is Isaiah World. This is the get off the bus guy. He's 6'8", just massive dude. He's had issues though with better talent after transferring from Nevada to Oregon. And he just doesn't bend well. And I think that the issue at that height is if you can't bend, you're going to get beat by smaller, more athletic edge rushers, the Will Andersons of the world, the 6'3" to 6'4", 250 pounders. Like they really get after him because he just can't bend to get to their level. So I think that's the biggest problem with him. And then Jennings Dunker. Okay, so he's possibly the best run blocker in this class, like actual best run blocker in this class. But also, he is the worst pass blocker in this class. So it's hard to put him in the top 50. He will play guard. He currently plays right tackle for Iowa. Iowa had 3 PFF All-Americans on their interior offensive line. Jennings Dunker, one of the best run blockers. It's just, I can't see him playing tackle because he can't pass block, but as the interior offensive line, if he gets maybe even center, like that's possible in my opinion. If that happens and he just gets to be, a mauler with bookends on both sides of him and to help him pass block, you could get a guy that you really like, especially if he goes to the right team, say the Ravens or something like that. So this is a really good group right here for sure. I do want to see who goes back to school and who doesn't, obviously, especially with the quarterbacks. But let's go over to the other side of the ball, the defense. Starting off with some edges. Up top, you got Romello Heights. Romello Height, I'm sorry. A lot of edges in this class that have been solid and could fit into a ranking. I wouldn't be mad at you if any of these guys obviously were in your top 50 because like Romello has played so well, or Mason Thomas is it's some of people's favorite guy, and he's an outlier. So we'll talk about him too. But like, there's a lot of things that these guys do well. Much older player though. Height is his film is really solid. Active hands, bend. His size and run stopping isn't very translatable though, in my opinion. He's a little bit smaller guy. You can see it on tape. He almost looks like a nickel out there, and the run stopping, he gets blown off the ball at times. He can't get off of offensive linemen when they really lock in on him and stuff like that. And I just wonder if that just means he's a designated pass rusher, which is fine because we have those, guys in the NFL that do a lot of good. But at the same time, if he is a designated pass rusher, how are you picking him in the top 50? Unless he is just legit, like ready to get, 15 sacks. And I just don't think he is. So that's my big thing with him. But I think he's a good player. I think that as a designated pass rusher, he should go in the second or third round. But yeah, and then the next guy, R. Mason Thomas, another guy that is kind of similar. He plays with a lot of energy, and I like that. One of the best pass rushers in the class, just overall. But I think he struggles against the run because he has undersized measurements. He was 6'1", 5'8" in the spring. He has shorter arms. Like, it's just such a tough sell for me to put him in the top 50 if he's not like a production monster. Like, if there was one thing would be if he just had like 20 sacks this year. Like if he was just going crazy, 17 sacks, but that's not it. Like he is on the lower end for that. And I mean, he's just another designated pass rusher to me. And some people to have him a lot higher than that. And they think, oh, he can play 3 downs. And I just don't see it unless he is an off ball outside linebacker, but I'm not comfortable with him dropping into coverage. I don't think he can play coverage. So it's not like we're projecting him to be able to do things that he hasn't done. He is a 4-down defensive end currently, and we're expecting him to stand up and play coverage and do well at that. And then also, get after the passer at his height and size. They've been so much better at the NFL level. There's a reason they're in the NFL, right? So that's why I just don't love him as a passer, as a top 30 player like some people have. Next up is Derek Moore. Actually, maybe higher overall on him, just in general. He does play outside linebacker. He doesn't have to transition. I think he has the strength and ability to be a 3-down player, like as an outside linebacker. I don't think you're asking a lot of him to play like a true edge position, but he is strong as hell. So maybe you can do that. 19.4% pass rush win rate. Like, that's really solid. There's a lot of really good pass rush win rates in this class. Really played well this season. I don't think he's getting enough love, so I'm putting him on this list. I think he might even be higher than Nar Mason Thomas. Corners. Torian York, one of the best IQ guys in this class. Quick diagnosis of plays. I think he might go back to school, so we're still waiting on that. And he's undersized. But if you're just talking about like getting a guy that is going to be able to lead a team, like if you have two different types of linebackers, you have a go guy and you have an intelligence guy. Like, this is the intelligence guy. He could lead a defense with his eyes closed. I mean, he can tell you exactly where everybody goes on that defense at all times, and he reads and he watches film so well. He sees screens better than almost any linebacker I've seen. So this is a guy that I really like. I just think he has physical limitations, and that's also why he wasn't like a 5-star or anything like that. He was much lower than that. So the physical limitations is the problem with Torian York, but he's been so productive and so good for A&M. So I personally want to bet on a guy like this. Next up is the corners, AJ Harris. AJ is getting a lot of hate right now. I understand the issues, the ball skills, the consistency, but there's just things you cannot teach that he has. I think the positives, of course, are, just like length and athleticism. And he looks like that. You want to see a true picture of a press outside corner. This is what he should look like, in my opinion. Zone eyes are good. I just hope he goes back to school or transfers. But if he comes out, like, he's in that range to me in the top, 60-ish. And I might even have him higher than most. I think some people have him in their outside their 100, which is crazy to me because you just don't get physical freaks like this, especially in the second round where you're betting on upside. The next is Chandler Rivers. He was our dark horse. He's undersized, and he plays the nickel. But geez, Louise, he is so stinging. I mean, connected, physical, willing to tackle, make plays. Like, these are the type of players, Taron Johnson type players, that you just are like, hey, like, we kind of have to get guys like this on our team to be good. I know he's undersized. I know that there's limitations, but he's going to do everything we ask of him. He's very intelligent. Like, you're getting a guy that just is good at football. And that's kind of what you get with Chandler Rivers. Don't overlook that part. Being good at football is very important. Next up is Jalen Kilgore. He's a DB because he plays the nickel, but he's a safety size. And he's a big nickel. Oh my gosh, he's crazy big. I'm not ready to give up on Jalen Kilgore. A lot of people are, but maybe it's stupidity. Maybe it's because I really liked him. He was our dark horse for safeties. Like, maybe I'm just wrong, but he's a long, rangy, physical athlete. Like I said, he plays the nickel. He can tackle. He does all those things. The upside is insane, but we saw, and we saw it on display last season when he was playing next to Nicky Manwari. It just kind of dip in production this year. I'd like to see him get a little bit better, of course, but hey, at the same time, like, you're getting, like, these are the guys you're betting on in the late second round, the early third round based on our rankings. And it's like, yeah, take a shot on these types of guys, right? The next guy we're going to talk about is Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. He plays safety. I don't have him in our top 50, and a lot of people have him even in their top 30. It's more so because I don't love his role currently at Oregon, what they're trying to do, and I don't know what, like, his identity is. I mean, he's playing a monster role. If y'all don't know what a monster is, he's basically a safety. He stands in the middle of the field at times. Not in the middle of the field, the middle of the formation at times, and then runs downfield when they run the run plays and stuff. He's like the extra overhang player. But at the same time, he also plays coverage, deep coverage. I think he's best in a cover 2 defense where he gets to be a rangy athlete in the back end. And, he's gets the opportunity to cover and look at the quarterback and be a zone player. I think that there's some issues with how Oregon's playing him, but at the same time, he's a good football player. And I could be very wrong on this guy. And he showed that when he was at Purdue. He was really good at football. But for some reason, every team he's played on has tried to put him in a weird position for his like abilities, and I don't know why. So I'm just gonna leave him in honorable mentions for now, and maybe something will get sorted out by the time we get closer to the draft, and I'll get him a little bit higher. But let's start it off. Number 50 through 41, I guess, right here. You can see them all. I'm not going to hide any of them, but we're going to start off with Genesis Smith from Arizona. This guy I might have him higher in the 2.0. Like, I just really love what he brings to the table. Currently, I think he's the best, most possible elite athlete you can find, in my opinion. Probably not a great football player, if that makes sense. Athlete over football player on this guy. He might be the best athlete in the class. He's strong as hell. And it's the best film I have watched this season, like the most fun film to watch by far, in my opinion, this season. This is a guy that I think, could go back to school and just become a football player, which is fun. And I'm not saying he's not a football player. Like, I think he's good at football, but I think more so than that, he is so athletic that he uses his athletic traits to be better at football, and he doesn't necessarily work on his craft as much as I want him to, because the athlete that's inside this body should be a top 5 pick, in my opinion. That's the type of player you have here, like athletic wise. And we're not even some people aren't even talking about him. So believe me, if he turned into a football player and just kept that athlete, different. He would be absolutely different. Next up is going to be Omar Cooper Jr. This is a playmaker, just absolute playmaker. One of the highest yak players in the class. Great with the ball in his hands, explosive athlete. He had that big catch against Penn State in the back of the end zone when Elijah Surratt was out, and where he toe tapped at the back of the end zone on that overthrow by Fernando Mendoza. But yeah, one of my favorite slot receivers in this class. Unfortunately, he was injured versus Ohio State, so he didn't get he got a few snaps, but he didn't really get to play much. So we missed out on him versus them, and them, of course, beating Ohio State. So I like Omar Cooper. He's higher on my board than most people's. Next up is Mateo Uyunglele from Oregon. Combination of speed, size, movement skills is why he's on this list. Has a fair share of flaws also. He needs to keep improving on. Pass rush plan is not that great. But he did make a big jump, so I appreciate that from last year to this year. 3-down player and can play in basically any scheme, which makes him so versatilely important. I think the big thing is, like, he just has a good floor. Not a great floor by any means, but he has an elite ceiling. And I think that's why a lot of people have him, still in their top 40. It's because, yeah, we don't see all of those things being put together every play, but the best plays, it's like, wow, like those best plays are insane. So that's why he's at 48 for me. Some people will have him higher. But yeah, I really like Mateo Yu in those things. I just think that there are flaws also that come with him. Next up is going to be Kenyatta Jackson out of Ohio State. Ohio State is just going to kill this list, so y'all know. But he's a typical 4-3 NFL defensive end, like size, power, all those things. He can play the run. I love how much he has progressed throughout the season, though, because truly he was not a great pass rusher. He was not a great pass rusher to start the season. He had some of the best games down the stretch, though. Pass rush has just gotten so much better, and I think that's so important because you can't be a big time edge and like really talked about if you're only a first and second down guy anymore. You have to be able to rush the passer. You have to be able to get up to the passer. And I see improvements from him. Of course, just being a 1-year starter. Of course, last year he was behind JT and Jack Sawyer. So I think that he's gotten a lot better, and those things have looked better, which is good throughout the season. And we're gonna get some college football playoffs from these guys too, which will be really good. Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State, the next edge on the board. All these edges are grouped together. You can see Gabe Jacas from Illinois up there too at 44. We're going to talk about all of them. They will separate themselves as the draft process goes on, of course, though. A lot of people pushed him down, Dennis Sutton, down because he just has some flaws as an athlete and he doesn't have elite athleticism or bend. But I think that you can see the other intangibles outweighing them. He is undeniably a guy that just makes plays. Like, that is not a question. You might not love how he makes plays, but he is always making plays. He is always accounted for by the offense. I think that, of course, you watch the game and it's like they talk about him constantly because he was the guy that got the interception, 2 tackles for loss or whatever in the playoff game last year against Notre Dame. He was the best player on the field against Notre Dame last year. But you didn't see all the flaws that they keep talking about, right? Well, there are flaws, sure, but I think that the other intangibles outweigh them. Now they're starting to move him back up, I believe, as he has played. They pushed him down because they're like, I hate this thing, and then they're like, but he's doing these things right. He's not going to be top 50 for very many people, but he's definitely going to be top 50 for us because I really like it. Next up is going to be Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. Could be higher on this list. Kind of got a late start on his eval because he wasn't a big name until late. He has the size and the length that he just brings the size and length to the party. Along with really solid fundamentals, like how he plays the cornerback position, he doesn't just get beat like silly, if that makes sense. Like he's always in somewhat of a solid position. Issues are that he just isn't fast. He's not fast. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he doesn't know how to transition well and he just gets run by and they can work on that. But I just don't think he's that fast. And then also his best tape was at the beginning of the year. It's gotten worse as the season's gone on. So I wonder if it was somewhat lightning in a bottle and his average is closer to like top 100 spot. But right now I'm comfortable putting him in the top 50 because he had, such good film to start the year. Next up is Gabe Jacas out of Illinois. Look, this is a guy that I was actually farther down on than most people. And then I watched this season. I'm like, wow, this guy's a stud. He's got leading the Big Ten in sacks, 11 sacks this year. Like, this guy's a stud. And then everybody else moved him down. And now I feel like I'm alone on this hill at 44. This dude's built strong. Just strong, dude. He's a little shorter, plays the run so well, and he will be on the field first and second down, leverage plus strength and then motor. And the reason he is so good is because of that motor. Like, that is what does it. Thought he had pass rush issues during the offseason. That is still there, but he's gotten so much better. And then also just that motor makes him feel like such a safe player. I don't think that there's a safe edge really in general, but Gabe is one guy that I'm like, hey, I feel safe taking him in the second round. I feel comfortable with that. So that's why I have him here. And I can't believe people are just chunking him down to the 80s. It's like, whoa, y'all were so high on him last year. And now what happened? But no big deal. Next up is going to be linebacker Jake Goldie. Sorry. Out of Cincinnati. Jake is a safety athletic body. Safety athleticism with linebacker body. Just a big dude, does everything well, run, pass, and pass rush. He is good, above average at everything. And that makes me excited, because that seems pretty solid, safe guy, when you come down to it. He's just a plus athlete at the linebacker spot at 6'4". Kind of reminds me of Peyton Wilson. And I was really high on Peyton Wilson, if y'all remember from a couple years ago. So, yeah, it's this is a guy that, I can bet on to do the right things and be on the field. And, yeah, solid player. Now, here's everybody's favorite. We're probably going to get into lots of conversations about this guy. But Caden Proctor, most people are asking if this is too low at 42. And I'm personally asking, is this too high? That's honesty. I might have him lower on my next board. They're just glaring issues because he has athleticism in these things, but consistency is just terrible with this guy. He's an All-American tackle one week, and then he's an undrafted free agent the next week. He has bad bend. That is not a question. Y'all cannot fight me on that one. And then he's got slow foot speed. This man is so big. And he needs to come into the combine at 340, in my opinion, because he's so slow. His foot speed is so slow, and he gets killed. All of these are so important for the offensive tackle spot. He has issues against shorter athletic edges because he just cannot. They beat him upfield, and this man is 6'7". They beat him upfield. He cannot get there, and he cannot bend to them because they are bending under his hands and stuff, and they're beating him. And so I can't get behind it. And I know some people are like, this is still a top 20 guy. And I'm like, no, to me, there's no way. There's no way. So we'll have a conversation about him probably 100 times. But yeah, that's where I'm at with him. Next up is Christian Miller, one of the my types, if that makes sense. If y'all know this channel, I'm really big on defensive linemen that just eliminate the run. First and second down is about eliminating the run. I played linebacker in college. I'm a believer in we stop the run and we control the pass. I know that, sometimes that doesn't work, but that's how you win games. Stopping the run, controlling possession, time of possession, things like that. That's how I believe you win games. Old school football. And this guy's very, very good at that. I do not care. They're there to stop the run. Like, that's what they're for. Built strong and compact, plays with great leverage and adequate arm length. I think it's so funny. He'll throw offensive linemen. He'll chunk offensive linemen. So I'm like, okay, like I was a little lower on him coming into the year. And of course, like he's not going to offer a lot as a pass rusher, but like he will throw offensive linemen. He will make plays in the run game. He will get you to third down. He'll let you bring on the athletes and get after the passer. So I really like him. Next up is going to be Keith Abney. Oh, I got to change this. Hold on, guys. Going to be Keith Abney from Arizona State. I love his competitive nature. Like, there's so many like people that I would like bet on just because they are competitors. It does not matter who he lines up against, and I love that. He's a sticky and annoying cornerback, honestly. And some people have him higher. I might have him higher. And anticipates better than anyone in this class, in my opinion. Just like he knows when that ball is coming. If it's in the air on a go route, if it's like, oh, this is going to be a slant, I'm going to jump it. Like, he knows, and he does a great job of that. And then he's quick enough to recover if he's wrong. And so I think that is really, really important. I think he's a legit cornerback too, like if that makes sense on a team. But I see upside as a cornerback one. I think for a team that drafts him, you want him to be your cornerback two. I don't think you want him to be your cornerback one. I think you want him to be able to do, like, you have one guy that's going to take care of the best player on the field, and then you have him who's going to just like be like, I'm going to make the picks. I'll go inside to nickel if I have to. Like, he'll do everything, but I don't know that you want him as your like high end cornerback one, if that makes sense. Next up is our Zion Young, who just got arrested, which is so fun. I have no idea what happened with the arrest. I'm not part of that. Like, I'm a scout. I do not know anything about that. That is not my jurisdiction. But if you talk about him as a football player, if you didn't know, I am on the Zion Young hype train. Built to stop the run and has been doing it for multiple years. Like, that's not even in question. Like, he can stop the run in the sleep. But the reason he's actually higher on this list and why I didn't have him higher before is because he has been a pass rush demon compared to what he was in prior years. He has changed his body. He can do things just way different than he used to be able to. 17.8% pass rush win rate, tons of pressures, and always makes the quarterback so uncomfortable. That strength puts offensive linemen in the lap of the quarterback constantly. Even if it's not a pressure, it feels like a pressure. And I think he does such a good job of that. That's why I really like him. Next up is going to be Chris Brazzell. Another Tennessee X wide receiver. Very fun, right? Because we have Dante Thornton and you had Jalen Hyatt and all those fun guys. But this guy's a little bit different. He is much better as a route runner. He's not going to just be your go ball guy the whole time. He will run out routes. He'll run slants. He'll run other things. Of course, I hate Tennessee's offense. I actually hate Tennessee's defense also. We'll talk about that later with some other guys. But he kind of reminds me of Mike Evans and how he moves and stuff. Very impressive on film at creating separation. And I was not sure how I was going to like him because of the ex wide receivers from Tennessee mold, but I think he isn't just a contested catch guy, and I love that because you have to be able to create separation in this league. I'm not going to keep betting on contested catch guys. We'll talk about one in a minute that I'm even lower on than most. So yeah, one of those things. I really like Chris Brazzell. The next guy is Olai Vavega Ione. Out of Penn State. We're going to call him Vega because it's easier. The athlete in this body is really, really good. His foot speed issues, and when asked to like movement block, like pull and outside zone and things like that, I don't think he does that very well. I think he's better at, downhill blocking. He might be one of the best players in pass pro in this class. Just hands and feet come together. He's very intelligent with how, he sees stunts, where he throws his hands, his anchor, all those things. Like, those things are really good. Average and movement, like I just think he's a very safe prospect because he's going to do good as a downhill run blocker, he's a guard. That's what we want to see, right? He'll remove defensive tackles and nose tackles. But he's just going to be kind of constricted to certain schemes and things like that. So that's why I don't have him higher. Some people have him in their top 20. I think he's a very safe prospect. I think that it's fair to say he could be a top 25 player because he is safe. But, you don't have like I see the issues also that I don't want to have on my team because a lot of the NFL is built on speed right now, and outside zone is a big thing. Power and counter and things like that, where you can pull those guards, is a big thing. And I just don't know that I see him moving that well. So that's my biggest problem with him. But I think he's a really good football player. Next up is going to be CJ Allen, a high IQ run stop and linebacker, man. This is what he does. He is going to be the guy in the box at all times. He plays from the tight end to the tight end. And don't ask him to do anything else because he cannot cover at all. He's a missile. You know, he's going to come and bring the boom. He's built like, I feel like he's one of those guys that just like, he's dense. You know, you hit him and you're like, oh, every time you get it, you know, feel him. Really good at block sheds, brings his hands, you know, just kind of, you know, thuds the offensive lineman and moves them. Think he lacks a little bit of athleticism, but I don't think it matters because what you're asking him to do is to make tackles. He shows up in coverage because they pick on him, if that makes sense. Like he's in coverage and he makes tackles in coverage because they are like, throw it at that guy. He can't cover a guy in the slot. He can't stop the spot route and things like that. So that's the biggest issue with him. And there's a reason that he gets rotated so much, if that makes sense, off of the Georgia when Georgia's on the field. Avion Terrell, I think a lot of people are going to be a lot higher on him, and I get it. I think for me, he fell a little bit, but I want him to be a nickel that everyone is seeing him, but I have reservations. I think there's a size and length issue. Like, strength isn't great, and bigger wide receivers can make him very uncomfortable. Positives, though, he has some insane positives. I mean, he is fast and quick AF, like fast as hell, and never slows down when transitioning from backpedal. That's really good. Like he starts backpedaling and then all of a sudden he's in a full sprint and he's on top of you. And I'm like, wow, that's solid. I think he should play in the zone scheme, especially if he's in the nickel. I think in the zone scheme, he'll be comfortable because he can see the quarterback and he can make plays on the ball. But not that I hate Avion Terrell. I just think he's not going to be a number one corner by any means. And some people want to draft him as that. Like, he's going to be a nickel cornerback that you have packages for, and he might not be on the field all the time. And if he's a cornerback 2 and he is outside, sure, that's fine. But it's still too early for a cornerback 2, in my opinion. Like, you need guys like that can ball out if you're going to be picking them in the top 20. And especially in this class, a cornerback 1 is what you're looking for, right? Like, this guy is not that. He is going to be a really good football player, and that's why he's at 35. Like, it's a really good spot. He's just not the guy that I think, you know, people are picking in the top 20. That's all. Next up is going to be Austin Searveld out of Ohio State. Played guard last season and wasn't that great. He was 62.5 grade, 3 sacks and 8 hits / hurries. This season he played left tackle. He's at 81.5 grade, 0 sacks, 11 hits and hurries. That's awesome. You know, that's a big improvement. I love what he does in the run game. He's just a people mover, big time leg drive, strong hands. He can run in any scheme. We talked about Vega versus him. Like, he moves in every scheme, which is great to see. I know he can pass block because he does it at tackle, and he's a people mover in the run game. So those two things just make me think he has all pro upside. I've watched this film a few times and I'm like, hey, like I don't see the issues or the things that other people aren't putting him higher. I think the issue is his name isn't really out there. So if y'all get a chance and y'all are like, oh, well, I don't know who the hell this guy is, why is he even in here? Go look at his film. I mean, obviously he plays for Ohio State. You can watch 1,000 games of him. So yeah, he's definitely a good football player, and that's why he's at 34. Next up is going to be Jeremy Bernard. I think the floor on the guy is the reason, right? Like, so he's the safest wide receiver in this class. He's great hands, route running IQ, and nuance. Like, he knows how to find soft spots and zones. Yak is really good. His issue lies in his upside, right? I do not think that he is a wide receiver 1 in an offense. He's probably best as a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, in my opinion. But we draft. It's not like a cornerback. Like, we draft wide receiver 3s in the second round nowadays. Same thing I thought about Emeka Egbuka last season. And of course, Emeka had a great start to the year this year and then started to go down because he's a wide receiver 2. He's not a wide receiver 1. If there's no wide receiver 1 on the field, sooner or later, defenses are going to figure out what the hell's going on. Of course, you know, like at first, you know, you get a guy that has no film on him, like Emeka Egbuka, and like you're like, okay, well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. He plays well for the first few weeks and then he starts to go down. But when Mike Evans is on the field, Emeka Egbuka is good at football. That's how it goes. I think that's the same thing here with Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard is better at football when there is a number one receiver on the field. But Jeremy Bernard is also one of the best wide receiver twos you're going to get in football, if that makes sense, just like Emeka. So that's my take on him. Next up is going to be Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. If you could have an NFL copycat, right? The NFL is a copycat league. If you could have a copycat of a guy, this is the Nick Emmanwori of the last class, right? He's just a 6'4", 210 pounds, size and length, something you can't coach. He's going to play in the box. He can play your nickel. He can do this weird linebacker thing. Nick Emmanwori is used so well at the Seahawks. Like, perfect place, perfect pick, right? And playing against better competition would have helped because he's out of Toledo here with McNeill-Warren. But I think, he has upside and could end up being a top 10 player in this class, just like Nick Emmanwori is going to be in that class. He could also be a guy that is out of the league in a few years. So it's a lot of question marks because of the talent versus the talent he played against. And just some of the other question marks of just like, is he, physical enough? Does he make, he misses too many tackles, like things like that, which I don't think he does. Like, I think he's fine. So I think he's a good football player, but, you're transitioning from Toledo. Next up is going to be Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. Run game mauler. This dude has the special foot speed and balance when moving that you want to see as a offensive lineman. Just dances when he pulls and he moves outside zone. He's got a strong anchor and pass pro, high IQ player because he's a little older. He's a little older player. He transferred a couple times. I don't know. Actually, no, he just transferred once. Sorry. Think the interior offensive line class is really good. And I think Pregnon is currently, the top, the king of it. I think Austin Searveld is a guy that I could move up. I think Vega could move up if he just has like really good testing and things like that, lateral quickness and things. But Emmanuel Pregnon is like, hey, this guy's ready to play football today in the NFL. And so I really like that about him. Next up, the top 30. Denzel Boston is the guy I was talking about earlier with the separation issues. He is just a better Keon Coleman right now. And I have issues like it scares me. Ceiling is just insane, obviously. Like any big time X receiver that can, beat and be a contested catch guy, it's like there's always a ceiling for those guys. But like Keon Coleman was that for Florida State, and he disappeared at times. Denzel Boston hasn't disappeared this year. He's been really good. I'm not going to say that, but contested catchability and lacks separation. The separation part is what scares me. I just hate guys that don't separate because they if they can't separate, they can't get open. They have to be thrown open, and that scares me. Just an average athlete, not a great athlete. So that also is like, hey, like if you're not a freak, like. But top speed just isn't there to be home run threat. I hate betting on guys that win with these types of traits. But in the red zone, he's a freak. There's a lot of things like this is a floor versus ceiling matchup, and I had to put him somewhere in the middle. And I think 30 is a good spot for him because his ceiling is, above some of. Well, there's a bunch of wide receivers above him, but he is in that range if he hits his ceiling. But he's also outside the top 100 if he hits his floor. Next up is going to be TJ Parker. This guy's got prototypical size. Plays the run game well. I thought I was missing something when I wasn't as high on him over the summer, though. I just felt like he just gets stuck on blocks way too often, things like that. And in turn, I don't think he will ever be an elite pass rusher. He will be a really good edge 2 on a team. And so when I'm questioning it, it's like, well, who's going to draft him? Like, where does he get drafted? And like a lot of people have him in like the mids, teens. Some people are like really down on him, have him in the 50s. I'm like, that's not realistic. But I think that the thing is like he just, he plays the run well, and he's going to be a edge 2. So drafting him as an edge 2 is the key. And if he's an edge 1, I don't think he gets over 10% pass rush win rate in the NFL. He uses his hands to stun offensive linemen in both the run and the pass, though, and I think he does a really good job of just being a physical freak, 5-star type of guy. But I just I don't think his explosiveness is there, and I don't think he's figured out how to just disengage from offensive linemen and get away with his hands and things like that. So that's my biggest problem with him. Next up is and it's a problem. He's at number 29. I know, but he was a top 3 consensus coming into the year. Next up is going to be Caden McDonald out of Ohio State. Again, another just nose tackle, defense tackle that destroys everybody on first down and second down. Gut is what this guy can gut. Tough guy to move off the line of scrimmage. Insane run defender. Just the best run defender in the class. Just he is. He's the best run defender in this class. 13.6% run stop rate. Insane. for a nose tackle. That's insane. 92.3 grade. Weirdly, always around the football is something I just keep watching and writing. Just a safe player that will bolster any defensive line. I think he, as a Pro Bowl or All Pro is not like out of the question by any means, but he's not going to offer a lot as a pass rusher. So, and I know that that's where you get love right now in the All Pro stuff. But like this is a guy going to be a rotational starter at nose tackle that's just going to kill people. Like he's a stud. Next up is going to be Colton Hood out of Tennessee. Should go back to school, in my opinion. Tennessee may have the cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 in this class if you just like think about possible rankings. Versatile player, press man, and zone. Like he can do it all. Makes wide receivers very uncomfortable at off the line of scrimmage. He's pretty physical overall. His has recovery speed too. If he does miss, which is good. Good eyes in zone coverage. Just wish he would have played more zone in college because I think he probably is a zone coverage corner. Fits the press coverage build though, and just reminds me a lot of what I thought of Kool-Aid McKinstry, and that's about where I have him. This is a down class, so I think Kool-Aid was a little farther back, but like that's the same range. They're very similar players in my personal opinion. Next up is going to be Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore, the 2 quarterbacks. Prospect ranking wise, I don't know. There's a reason they're 25 and 26. Like not positional value ranking. This is a prospect ranking, not a positional value ranking. If positional value ranking, they'd be higher, obviously. Makes the umbrella throws. I'm talking about Fernando. Takes care of the ball and seems to be an elite game manager. And I think that's great. I think game managers are awesome. That's cool. He's not going to win you games. He's not going to lose you games, right? 79.2% adjusted accuracy, 6.2% big time throw rate, and 2.3% turnover plays. He hasn't lost any games this season, but I also don't think he's won those games, if that makes sense. He's not the reason they won those games. And that last drive against Penn State, like you could say, oh, that was the one where he like made his Heisman moment, right? Like, well, I don't know that he ever had a Heisman moment because that was an overthrown ball. Let's just be honest. Omar Cooper saved that, man. Just screams big arm game manager to me. That's what he is to me. I think everyone compares him to Goff, and that just makes so much sense. Like the comparison to Goff is like, hey, like Goff has insane talent around him, and he just gets the ball to his playmakers, right? Like Goff isn't going to win you games or lose you games. That's what Fernando's going to do. Now, Dante Moore, on the other hand, this is the guy with the floor to, ceiling upside. I think he is CJ Stroud when I see him. Like, I'm like, this is CJ Stroud. I look at him, I'm like, okay, yeah, they have very similar abilities to throw the ball and things like that, where they throw it, how they throw it, all those things. He's just capable of making every throw and makes them kind of look effortless, which is fun. Deniable arm talent because of it. He should go back to school. I don't think that the number of starts really helps him. I think he needs to go back to school personally, but he won't. I don't think he will. He looks young at times, even with the best advanced stats of any quarterback. Like best by far. 81.2% adjusted percentage, 7.0% big time throw rate, 2.2% turnover over play. Like all of those things are awesome. But against Indiana, he did struggle. Finally played someone good and like struggled. So there's just some question marks of like, I want him to go back to school and get some starts, Like I know he had UCLA. That was just him figuring out how to lose. And then coming into Oregon, like he's looked really good. So obviously he's going to get some starts in the college football playoff. It'll really tell us how good he is and to separate between Fernando and him. But I like Dante more and more probably, but I can see the problems as like, if he hits his floor, he's a bust. He's just a bust. Anthony Hill Jr. At 24 here. Everyone moving him down, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. I love Anthony Hill, actually. He has been every bit of the player I expected him to be, though. 4.5 missed tackle rate. I don't think Texas uses him correctly. I mean, I don't know what they're doing putting him at Sam. He is a guy that I don't want to think. Like, I don't want him to go think. I want him to go play. Like, that makes sense? Like, I just want him to go play fast. Go where you see it. Don't have to call out the plays or tell the defensive line what to do or any of that. Have someone else do that. There's a lot of smart football players. Let this man go play football. Because when he does that and he runs downfield and he's a go guy, read and react, hit. That's what I want. And for some reason, they just don't let him loose. So I want to see a team let him loose. But he's going to go way lower than he should. And he's going to be way better than he is. Or way better than his draft position is. Joshua Josephs, 3 edges in a row again, because I don't know what to do with them, and we're going to let the draft process figured out. Joshua Joseph is my guy. He was our dark horse. He is one of the few pass rushers in this class that could end up just being elite. He also doesn't have the issues that I think Bailey and Hal have, which we'll talk about in a second. He has 34 and 7 and 3/4 inch arms. So long arms. Great. Athleticism is all there, which is awesome. Basically, if I take a swing on Joshua Josephs here and I miss, then so be it, because I just love the intangibles he brings as a pass rusher, what he does as a run defender. He needs to play, of course, in a 3-4 defense and be an outside linebacker, but at the same time, he has done that and he's been good at it. I hate Tennessee. They rotate their players too much. He didn't get enough love because they don't leave him on the field, but this is a guy that's a stud. Next up is going to be David Bailey. I didn't love David Bailey over the summer because of his ability in the run game. Guess what? It hasn't changed. It is still there. But we cannot deny that he is an elite pass rusher. Elite. He has the length. He has all those things. But he looks uninterested in the run game. He really does. He is a top 5 pick if he just played average run defense. Just if he was average. He is a designated pass rusher right now, and that's why I don't have him higher. Because I cannot put a designated pass rusher top 20. I personally, my body won't allow me. I just can't do it. So if he shows that he can play the run in one of these Senior Bowls or something like that, sure, done. But right now I do not see it, and I want to see it. I would, golly, I need to see it. And then the next guy is Cassius Howell. There's obviously an elephant in the room. He might have sub 31 inch arms. I don't know, that's 1 percentile, first percentile. I cannot take stands on guys that are that big of outliers. He's 6'2" with sub 31 inch arms. We have a lot of those guys. I talked about R. Mason Thomas earlier, but he actually has longer arms. One guy here, though, that really, took a stand and stood out at Texas A&M, having the most sacks, I believe, in the SEC this year. I cannot, that's really awesome. Great college player, but it's so hard to project him, especially after I watched him play a first-round talent like Trevor Goosby. I think Trevor Goosby's a stud, and Trevor Goosby had his number all game. And so Texas is Trevor Goosby, if y'all didn't know. He has been really good this season otherwise, though. And so it's I'm fighting internally. I think I left him this high because I want Dustin to be happy, my Texas A&M grad and co-host. I want him to be happy, so I left him a little higher. But at the same time, I'm just so nervous on the things that he cannot control. There's so many guys that have things that are just so good and that they control, and he cannot control these things, so that's my big thing with him. Okay. Next up, Kenyon Sadiq, dark horse for the tight end position. Didn't even start last year, and everybody's like, oh, you can't call him a dark horse. It's yeah, I can. He didn't even, he was a backup, but physical specimen. This is what, he's the picture there. That's a physical specimen. This is what a plus athlete at the tight end position looks like. More of an H than a move tight end than a Y, obviously. Overall height and weight are not prototypical. He's a smaller guy, but doesn't change that he can run block, which normally when you're smaller, that's what you miss out on, right? You can't run block. Sadiq is a really good run blocker, and he prides himself on it. He's just the new style tight end. And I think that's what we're starting to see is guys like this are just, becoming normal. The dark horse, the reason he was a dark horse was just the athletic upside he possesses. There's just no question that he's a freak. Issues are still there. Not polished as a receiver. He had 11.1% drop rate. That's got to be fixed. He's just not very nuanced as a route runner yet. But at the same time, there's a lot of times where you're just where is he? Let me throw it to him. He's going to be fine. He is a projection. So I think he should be lower, could be lower. But just like everyone else, I think that you have to bet on the traits, especially since he's such a good run blocker and you're not going to have to figure that out. Bet on these traits. That's how I look at it. But yeah, next up is going to be Mansour Delane, or Delaney. I don't really know which one it is. Everybody keeps calling him Delaney, and I'm I've heard Mansour Delane all his career, and now all of a sudden we're changing it. But whatever. I have reservations with him, though. He's just not the best athlete. He's undersized with short arms, lacks top speed. But on film, there's no denying this man's done insane things. He's always connected, takes great angles, high IQ, great eyes. He plays the ball so well. There's very few guys that play the ball like this. 35 targets on him this year. Not very many. That's really good. 13 receptions given up. 11 forced incompletions and 2 interceptions. He's knocking the ball down or intercepting it the same amount as it's being caught. Production has to matter, of course. So I think that's why I actually have him this high, because normally I would have him lower. But I just feel like he needs to be in the perfect perfect situation because of his inefficiencies. And I think that that's just the big thing with him. But I really like him. Amari Washington. Obviously a projection player that I'm going to bet on. I love Amari Washington. Size and length equals leverage. He's 6'3", 330, and he's got 34-inch arms. It's hard to move a stump with those long of arms. Power plus first step explosiveness, and he's just a problem. Like the power plus that first step, like it's like damn. He's still so raw, and for his size, he should be able to do so many things. He should not be able to do the things he's able to do, but he is so raw as a football player he kind of runs into some issues. It starts with the run defense and how well he can do that. Like it's can he learn to be a pass rusher? And I think the answer is yes. And that's why he's higher. Like Caden McDonald is a better run defender, right? That's great. But he's never going to be a pass rusher. Amari Washington could. He literally he sacked Fernando Mendoza with his offensive guard. And I was like, we're good. Because the last time that happened was Jared Verse. And I was wrong on Jared Verse. I put him as the third edge in that class, and I was wrong. Let's not do that again, right? So let's put some love on Amari Washington. I like him a lot. Next up is going to be Keldrick Falk, and this might be coming as a surprise because that's a little low for Keldrick Falk on most boards, but love-hate relationship, man. I love versatility. I love run defense. I love length. I love strength. I love his physicality and his imposingness. Like he just has that 6'6", all the things, like freak. Then I hate his pass rush arsenal. It's just not there. There's no bend. He has a 9.9% pass rush run rate. This is a top 10 edge to most people with 9.9% pass rush run rate. No way. He is the opposite of David Bailey right now to me. He's, he will be a menace on first and second down. And then on third down, you might have to take him off the field or move him against a guard. It's so annoying. My ranking is lower than everyone else's, and it's generous in my opinion. Like I want to see him prove me wrong and turn into someone that doesn't have to pass rush against guards. Like just be good. Right now he is Michael Williams or Tyree Wilson. And I want him. Oh my God, I want him to be Aiden Hutchinson because I loved him over the summer. And I said maybe he can get 15 sacks this year. And I think he's got 3. So, believe me, I want this guy to be good. But he might be Michael Williams or Tyree Wilson where he has to play 4-eye and just be really good against the run and come off on third down. Like that might just be what he is. Next up is going to be 16, Trevor Gooseby. We just talked about him a little bit. He really dominated catches out. So that was good. One of the few athletic offensive tackle bodies in this class. Tight end athleticism is important to me. That's how I kind of describe tackles. When they have tight end athleticism, that's what I want. Bend is key. Versatility, and has played, he's just played both sides of the ball. Last year with Banks and Cam Williams, he started both sides while they were injured. Offensive tackle make their money in pass blocking though, and that's what he did to catch Tal. Like I was saying, only gave up 1 hurry in that game to the number 1 production edge in the SEC. Everyone will catch up on his stock as the offseason goes on. I'm just early. He's at 16 for me, and I mean, there's no way he's not a first rounder. Next up is Francis Mauigoa. Some teams will see him as a guard, and I think it's fair because of the length questions I see with him. Now, the question to me will always be we'll always have to do with short arms and stuff, but would he be a better guard? Is kind of how I think about it. And if he plays guard, I think he gets overpowered because I don't think he has a ton of power. I think he's more of a finesse player, actually. And I think he's really good at pass blocking off the edge. So I think he's a right tackle. I put a lineman on there just for, emphasis, but Mauigoa, in my opinion, will play tackle. The other thing I have an opinion on is he is one of the most potential busts in this class, in my opinion. There's a lot of people that are like, this is a safe pick. I'm like, he's got short arms. He's probably going to play tackle because he doesn't have a power index. I don't know about that. He has to develop strength because he doesn't have the length at the next level, With all that being said, offensive tackle with the athleticism of a tight end. This is another guy that can move like that. Just a good mirror and hasn't given me any reason to doubt him at his length. But it's really easy to see hey, this could be a bust. He's a guy I would say tread lightly, but it is hard when there's just aren't a bunch of solid offensive tackle prospects. And I like him, but for some reason in the back of my head, I'm like, this guy could be a problem. So that's just where I'm at. Next up is going to be Makai Lemon. Lemon is a slot plus receiver. Does all the expected slot things, runs routes well. Running short routes versus zone does good there. Catches and has good yak after he catches short intermediate routes. Creates mismatches against linebackers and safeties. But now for the plus part, contested catch animal for his size, like absolutely just animal. 16 deep catches for 522 yards. Those both rank top 10. 2.5% drop rate, really good, and a 3.13 yards per route run. Just gonna give you yards. He is just a football player, worthy of a top 20 pick in my opinion, but I think he's a 1B on a team. I don't know that he's a wide receiver too. I think he's a 1B, because he can do it all. And so I don't think slot receiver should be your wide receiver one. Like Lab McConkey should not be your wide receiver one. We've seen that issue come up this year, right? So that's my big thing with him. But no, I think he's a legit player. Should be a top 15, top 20 pick for sure. Next up is going to be Casey Concepcion. These two guys are very close, obviously a wide receiver. KC somehow ended up being a my guy on this year, because I didn't necessarily love him coming into last year. I thought he made a bad decision going to A&M, and I was just flat out wrong. I just don't know football, obviously. I don't know ball. I just love guys that can separate. This guy is just absolutely torching these SEC corners. I mean, just torching them. I'm not sure anyone can cover him man in man. He runs very nuanced routes, never really looks the same when he runs his routes. He's just a super crafty player, and you don't normally find that in guys that are burners, because he is a burner. He's a 5'11" burner that I thought would have possibly played slot or maybe been a gadget guy coming into the year. He's not that. He has all the speed you could ask for, plus the short area quickness that you just can't teach. He makes running difficult routes look effortless. Like there are routes that he runs against, double coverage, and he goes and catches the ball. Who was it? Was it South Carolina? It was Brandon Cisse or one of the big time guys that going up boards. And he just ran past him. I was like, okay, there we go. He always has a chance to score with the ball in his hands. Like he has that returner upside. I don't know if y'all watched his returning. He's got multiple touchdowns returning the ball this year. He's, whenever the ball is in this guy's hands, like, be afraid. He also was just better than the competition this year. Like if you look at, like I was saying, like Brandon Cisse or whoever it was, I don't want to call it Brandon Cisse if it wasn't him, but I remember it was a Maroon, Mississippi State or South Carolina or one of those that he just torched on a go route with a cover 2 safety and still caught it. Biggest issue are drops. He's like 10% drop rate. But every time I watch this film, I get so excited because he's just torching people. And the drops can be fixed. That is not the biggest. I know drops are important, but everybody wanted to get on Jamar Chase when he was dropping the ball in preseason a few years ago when he was a rookie. And it's like, then what? Yeah. So I like this guy a lot, and he might be higher. But yeah, let's go on to the next one. It's going to be Caleb Lomu out of Utah. Athlete. His biggest things is he's just a technician. He mirrors. He has one hand, two hand punching. He anchors well, cuts off angles, balance and control. He doesn't even look like he's built into his body yet, and he's doing these things. He's very fluid and he recovers. Like he can miss and recover so well. It's very impressive to see him recover actually. As a pass blocker, he is ready to play in the NFL. Just an average run blocker though right now. And I think that was surprising because he does play for Utah and their, style of play. I think he just needs to be a little bit more physical. I want to see him finish more. Like I just want him to be, an animal and just finish people. That would be good. And I want to see more foot drive at times, that kind of stuff. Length may be an issue. Arms seem a little short, but at the same time, NFL offensive tackles get paid for their pass block ability. And this guy has the goods in that. Lomu is higher on our board, but this is a projection that he grows into his body a little more and improves his run blocking in the NFL. Obviously, Maui Noah and Lomu have similar issues, short arms, not power. They're not power guys. I just think that I like Lomu's athleticism and movement skills a little bit better than Maui Noah's, but both of them obviously should project well, and they are obviously top 15 players. Next up is going to be Caleb Banks out of Florida. Caleb Banks is a guy that got injured all year, and people forgot about him, and they need to stop forgetting about him because he is a absolute bad mofo. He's a bust guy. Height, weight, arm length, wingspan, all are better than 94th percentile. That's freaking huge, dude. He's insanely powerful and will remove offensive linemen. Like his shedding, he'll just throw them, and they'll just be like they don't have a choice. They're just gonna go. He's kind of like he has no technical ability in my opinion. He's not a technician at all. He's not got a great punch. He's not gonna put his hands in the right places. He's not gonna move his feet correctly. But what it is he is a bull in a china cabinet, man. China shop, whatever the hell. No, cabinet, because it's gotta be smaller. This man is just making plays in small itty bitty spaces. It's crazy. He's an animal. Honestly, he's an absolute animal. He'll just chunk players and then make a play. And it's really good to see. The athlete he is, you cannot teach the athlete that he is for his size. That's the biggest thing, and I was really high on him. He was also a dark horse. I didn't realize everybody was going to rank him top 2 because we normally put our dark horse stuff out prior to everybody else putting their stuff out. But I wish he would have played more. Obviously, he'd be a top 5 player if he would have played more. I mean, he came back this year and he just was doing the same things he was doing last year. So that's my big thing. I'm really high on him, and I hope I hope that this is true. Next up is going to be our top 10. The first guy off our top 10 is going to be Mr. Rueben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Easy as and to come for a shock, right? Rueben Bain, number 10, not number 3, right? Like everybody else. Rueben Bain Jr., easily one of the hardest players for me to personally figure out. I mean, he's built crazily in the bottom half. Like his legs are bigger than my torso. Each leg is bigger than my torso. Like it's freaky. He just gives me a weird feeling that we are overhyping him. He is a powerful and explosive player for his size. He gets off the ball well, plays the run well and with leverage and hands. He's got short arms. This is something that we're going to get into, but he's got very short arms comparatively. So they're sub 32, has a pass rush plan, but he isn't like productive in creating sacks. Like I know that he's getting pressures and things like that, but he only has 4.5 sacks. Like we got to do better than that, right? No, freshman year, Rueben Bain was a stud. Also, as his season has gone on, he's like it's gotten worse. Like he played well against Notre Dame in week 1, and as the season went on, he just got worse every week. And then there's the injury concern from last year, right? So like he's had injuries, he's missed years, things like that that are really scary. I am lower on him for those reasons. Does he actually have a position? That's my other. Like, is he not a 4-eye in the NFL? Not a true edge? Like, that's my big thing. Like, no one's thinking about that, I guess, right now. But like, I think he's a 4-eye. And if he's a 4-eye, you're not going to get the sack production you're looking for. Arm length is an issue. Should he be the first non-quarterback selected? No. Why is I don't know. Why has he looked worse as the year's gone on? These are just questions in my head. Still have him as a top 10 player, as you can see. He's number 10. But obviously, I've dropped him down because I see a lot more issues than other people do for some reason. And I've seen them for a long time, but that's neither here nor there. Next up, Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Love reminds me of Bijan. He does. He's not as good. He's not as good, guys. But he reminds me of Bijan. Stylistically, that's what I see. The size and speed combo are very similar. The style of what they do and what they're good at is good, similar. Balance and making people miss with a bigger body because he is a big guy. Bijan was more elusive overall, though. Receiving game ability is solid. Not Bijan-esque, but hey, look, if you want a direct comparison, that's who I see when I'm like looking at this guy. He's not as good as him, but there are a lot of similarities. In my opinion, Love, at the beginning of the season against Miami and A&M, he just wasn't nearly as good. And those are the big games that they played. Those are the 2 big games, Miami held him to his worst game in basically every category, and A&M was not far behind. 3.3 yards per attempt against against Miami. 4.1 versus A&M. This is the tell that the comp was not nearly as good. And I know that everybody wants to make the Genty argument, but Genty had 2,600 yards. Like Jeremiah Love at 13. His talent is nothing to scoff at. I just think the blue chip grade, I hold it in such high regard, and this is not that. I really like Jeremiah Love. I think he is a really, really good running back in the next level. I think he's closer to the Omarion Hampton grade than the Ashton Genty grade, though. And that's fine. I think he's going to be really good. I think a team will draft him early, and he's going to be very good. But I just don't think he's a blue chip player. I don't think he's Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he's Bijan Robinson. I don't think he's Ashton Genty. Those types of things. But yeah, that's where I'm at with him. Next up, Mr. Carnell Tate. Wow, what a guy, right? I mean, dark horse, loved this guy coming in. Thought there were some things that he needed to work on. Emeka Ibuka leaves, and he's better than Emeka Ibuka this year. This is the home run threat in the group, in my opinion, averaging the second most yards per catch in the group of all players watched, 17.5, comes with an 82.8% completion percentage behind it. That's insane. Those two numbers together are insane. Runs good, not great routes, but where he excels is when the ball is in the air. The catch radius is freaking nuts. His length and height, vertical shows up on tape. He has a 0.0% drop rate and an 85.7% contested catch rate. Obviously, the yards per reception are going to be up at 3.35 because he's catching the ball at 17.5 yards per catch on average. Part of the reason Julian Sain is breaking completion percentage records this year. Also, still, don't forget this. He plays for Ohio State. And Ohio State receivers have a great lineage. And what do they do well? They block. And blocking is so important to me, especially for wide receivers, because you take Amon-Ra St. Brown. Your favorite receiver should block. That's just true. So this guy has so much going for him right now, in my opinion, when it comes to numbers and everything. Everything in between, the team, the numbers, all of it. Not surprised some people have him as their wide receiver one, because he is just, that's how he's played this year. He could be wide receiver one. Like I said, he was our dark horse, which I'm very proud of, because he was not considered a top number one wide receiver by anybody prior. But he has absolutely excelled and shown that he is worth that. Next up is Spencer Fanu out of Utah. Spencer Fanu, I've talked about him last year as, one of my favorite offensive tackles I've seen. Just the athleticism that he imposes, along with all the things that he does. Like, this is an actual tight end playing tackle. Like, his body is slim, he's physical, like, he looks strong. He does not look like a tackle, in my opinion. But, that is actually what people are hating on him for. He doesn't have the greatest anchor. Like, I get there's some anchor issues, but he's got short arms. Like, okay, sure, man. But there's not very many athletes that look like him. But by far the most athletic and best mover in the offensive tackle class. Motor, effort are great. Since he's so athletic, pulling, foot speed, never stops on contact, mean finisher, all those things. As a run blocker, he's the best run blocker in the class. Like, he just is. The foot speed, like I said, just helps him with pass pro. Also, mirroring comes easy, stays in the middle of players flawlessly. Going forward is where he's best, though. Like, going downhill is where he's best. Or moving, move linemen, right? If he's running outside zone, or he's going to pull, like, all those things, he is good at those things. Going backwards is a little bit more of an issue, like we said. I mean, he's a little lighter. Length is an issue. He can be pushed back, and like that anchor that we're talking about, but it's not like it's significant. We're acting like, some people are like, oh, I'm putting him in the 20s. It's like, no, no way. I think he's a pro-ready tackle. I know that there's issues. I know that there's question marks about his length, but I think he's pro-ready tackle right now. If Will Campbell, who I think should be a guard, personally, still will think that, because I think he's an all-pro guard for 20 years, damn near. I think that since he can play with short arms, so can Fanu, because I think Spencer Fanu moves better than him. And Spencer Fanu just won the best offensive lineman award in the country. Forgot, Doug Walker award winner was Jeremiah Love, and Mekhi Lemon won Biletnikoff. All those things. But yeah, so I think that Spencer Fanu is a legitimate player, and I don't think he should have been bumped too much down this. Players did outplay him, though, like the next guy, who is, if I can get it to change, here we go. Okay. Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson is only ranked this low, technically, because of his availability and injury concerns. That is the problem with him. He is scary because he is not always available. He is the best and most nuanced route runner in this class by far, in my opinion. Intermediate routes are his bread and butter. I mean, he double sticks, and defenders literally just can't figure out what he's doing or where he's going. He's got a big catch radius. I think that's good. I think he is the definition of what separator looks like. Man coverage is a joke against this guy. He's good against zone because he can find the spots, and he makes you uncomfortable because he bends and moves his body in ways that you just cannot understand. I think he's the closest thing we have seen to Justin Jefferson. Like, and this is, of course, coming out of college. Like, Justin Jefferson played with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all those things, and he was the number 2 on that team, technically. He had more catches, but Jamar just killed him when it came to like touchdowns and yards. But Jordan Tyson can do all the things and reminds me so much of Justin Jefferson. So there's that. I mean, if he's Justin Jefferson at the end of the day, 6 is too low. That's how I feel about it. 6 is too low. He just has to stay healthy. Next up, a guy that isn't healthy. I don't know what to tell you. I just told you how, Jordan Tyson should be higher. Jermon McCoy, injured all season long. So I only have to go off what I saw last season and on his film. And, he's legit. He's the best cornerback in this class if it comes to last season's film. That was, I thought he was a top 5 corner in the class last year. No opinion. Nobody beat him out, basically. No one jumped him. High-level athlete with long speed and explosiveness. Wanted to see how the injury affected him. Wish we could have seen a little bit. Hopefully he does do one of these bowls, Senior Bowl or one of them. More than adequate length, high-level run defender, and he prides himself in it. That's good. Played a lot of man last year. Played 31% man. Press man was really impressive. He understood help where it was coming from. Put his body in good positions on like every play. And even the ones where he got caught on, like, it was like, okay, the offensive player just made a great play. If Jermon McCoy had the same season he did last year, he would be the number 1 cornerback. The athletic upside mixed with the production is too much to knock him out, in my opinion. That's all. All right, let's go on to a guy that's actually been healthy. Peter Woods. I am betting on the insane upside Peter Woods has. Some people have moved him farther down the list, and I get it, because he hasn't been just amazing by any means. But I've seen, all those things happen, but he just reminds me too much of, Quinnen Williams when I watch him. Maybe it's just a body type thing, but they look a lot alike in pads, and they move a lot alike in pads. Quinnen Williams a little bit thicker right now, but really good extension and shed. I actually went and rewatched Quinnen Williams highlights and stuff so I could get an idea of because I saw Quinnen Williams and I was like, okay, this is a Quinnen Williams guy. And then I went and watch the highlights to see if I can compare them. They would look the same, I swear. High motor, athletic build, moves like an edge, but size of a defensive tackle. And he played edge last year, so that makes sense. Think he uses his finesse too often. I wish he would just turn into a power freak and just unleash that first step. If he does unleash the first step as a pass rusher, it's going to be crazy. Versatile, started at edge, like I said, in 2024, so he can move to 4-eye if he has to and things like that. Physical hands, strength for days. He just has things you cannot coach. Twitch, explosiveness, just the freakish things that you cannot coach. 5-star stuff, The upside for Peter Woods is a multiple-time All-Pro, and the floor is a long-time starter. I don't think that there's any, in between on that. I think that there's way more question marks on a lot of players than Peter Woods, and I know that even in a down year, he was still freakish. Next up, Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese is 3rd, and I've talked about Arvell Reese, and we talked about him as he should be the number 1 overall guy in this class, and I tweeted that a couple times, but then I was like, okay, let's put a board together. It's like Arvell Reese is going to be 3rd, which is incredible for him. I remember watching him in the first game of the year against Texas. Texas, comes out, and Arvell Reese is a name I don't know on that defense, which had a ton of names. And I think he had 2 sacks or 2 really big plays in that game. I'm like, who is this guy? Because he's just a linebacker that is pressing offensive tackles into the backfield. I'm like, freak. He's been really good this year. He's considered an off-ball linebacker because he's a good off-ball linebacker. He's not like Micah, who wasn't a very great off-ball linebacker, that when moved to edge was way better. So a lot of people are going to leave him an off-ball linebacker in their rankings. I'm not going to do that. He's an edge. He's a very good edge at that, and I want him to play edge. And his strength, power, speed, bend, acceleration, all of the things that you can think of are really great. He can long arm too. I think he's got 34-inch arms. He's an absolute freak. And so I'm so high on him. He's absolutely deserving of a top 5 pick, no matter what, in my opinion, even after the quarterbacks. So if that happens, I wouldn't be mad about it. And edge, of course, is such an important position. So the next 2 guys don't play edge or a important position necessarily. So he'll probably go before them. But as a prospect, I just like Arvell Reese, and the things he was able to do as a junior this year, I don't think he should go back. Obviously, I think he's going to get paid, and he's going to be a number 1 edge rusher for a team, in my opinion. He's just that good. So, okay, this is my favorite. Well, I say that they're both my favorite. The next 2 guys are both my favorite players. This one is just close to my heart because he's our dark horse, the best linebacker in college football, best not talked about linebacker in college football, because you have Arvell Reese on the same team who's playing linebacker, and he's been just loved. But 6'4", 243 pounds with 33.25-inch arms, insane length. Played safety before moving to linebacker. Read and react is insane for just becoming a linebacker. Like he just became a linebacker a couple years ago. 0.0% missed tackle rate. Just okay. We don't miss tackles around here. Styles has just not gotten enough love this season for what he has done for Ohio State. He has got the cleanest. I mean this. He's got the cleanest tape I've seen from the linebacker position, possibly of any player in college football right now. So yeah, he's got the cleanest tape. He's just stud. Biggest flaw people are talking about is awareness in zone. Well, he played safety. I figure he'll figure that out. That's not a problem for me. I don't think he's not a box only linebacker. Like he can do everything, including play Tampa and stuff like that. Physical at the point of attack. I didn't expect him to be this good at stacking and shedding for never really doing it. And he sometimes just says, hey, I'm a better athlete. I'm going to slip this block. I don't have to touch you. And I love that. I love that. I mean, he changes it up. He makes plays. He is tied for my favorite player in this class. This dude is just different. This dude is different. He's the number 2 player on this board. I think if he's not top 5 on boards, I'm going to be a little annoyed because then they just start taking way too much positional value into it because this guy deserves to be top 5 on every board. If he hits his ceiling, we may see a shift in how people draft and think about typical linebackers because if they look like him, you know what I mean? They don't look like him. They don't move like him. No linebacker does this. And I think if we see him do well, we're going to see a shift in like how linebackers are thought of. And then the number 1 player, you know who it is. If you don't, it's Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. We got 4 Ohio State players in the top 10. Absolutely deserving, though. Caleb Downs is the best safety prospect. He started at Alabama as a freshman. He was a 5-star. He was a freak. Then he moved to Ohio State. He's been a freak for 2 years. I mean, he's the best safety prospect I've ever seen. And he just continues to amaze. He can do it all. He can play high. He can play in the box. He can rush. He can man. He can do it all. And so it's just such an invaluable player. And I don't think people realize that, of course, like safety, you don't want a safety in the top 10. Like that's the positional value. No, this guy is a football player. He can play whatever you want him to. You play him at high, cover 1, cover 2, cover whatever, cover 0. And he blitzing or in coverage. Does not matter. He is that guy. And so, yes, of course, Sonny Styles is probably my favorite player in the class. Caleb Downs is the best player in the class. It's not even a question in my mind, unfortunately, because he is just so special as a football player. And you're not going to find anybody else that can do what he can do. I mean, the hype train is not like it's new, and I'm just spouting out BS. Like he's that guy. And I think we're getting prospect fatigue on him because as a prospect, he's been a prospect for too long. People just keep thinking, oh, there's got to be a flaw. There's got to be a flaw. Tell me a flaw. I dare you. I dare you to tell me a flaw. So that's where I'm at. I appreciate y'all. Let me stop sharing. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Of course, I love doing this, and we've obviously taken a step back on how much production we've been doing and what I've been doing, but I will be doing as much draft stuff as I can. Having a new baby, obviously that's a lot to learn, but it's been great. And trying to work this in as a podcast for y'all is also great. Because this is the time of year that I love. Well, we're actually, let me think. We're more than 4 months removed from the draft, and I'm already getting excited about the draft. That's the type of stuff that, gets going. Yeah, and so I'm really pumped about how this draft is going to go. I don't think it's nearly as good of a draft as previous drafts have been. I don't know that I'll have very many first round grades, but this is a really good draft for like depth. I think the second round, third round are pretty good. There's a lot of good players in the later. I just think it's a lot closer together than it has been in the past. And I think that there's a lot of opinions and guys are all over the place. So we're going to see some crazy things, in my opinion, on draft night. Not a ton of quarterback love. Running backs aren't that great, but the defensive side of the ball is just so good. The wide receivers are so good. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to talk about it again. I'm gonna do another one. We're gonna, of course, talk about all the Senior Bowl people, Shrine versus American versus Senior Bowl, depending on when they all come out. And then we'll just keep chugging along on the NFL draft stuff. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next one.